Hey everybody, John Swift. One day before the storm, a lot of anxiety is building. Walking by the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, which is the big concert venue and convention center. Uh, the park is closed. The one we usually go to got closed today. I guess they're making their final preparations, and maybe they were boarding up. I don't know. I've seen some buildings boarding up in the area. So the storm is supposed to hit directly. It looks like the eye's going through St. Pete, Tampa area, which we call the Bay Area, Tampa Bay. And then we're about 20 to 30 miles from there, maybe a little further. And so it's supposed to cut right across the state, which we're right in line. Lakeland is right in line with Tampa and St. Pete and all these cities, Orlando, coming through Florida. So it is frightening because I did lose my house 2 years ago in a big storm. The tree fell on it. And so before that, I was very optimistic during storms because they would predict storms that were going to come in the area and they were going to be a Category 4 storm, and then they would always turn for some reason. Like, I was in Sarasota for 50 years, and it always seemed like last minute turning. Even though the weather forecasters would predict it coming right for Sarasota, where I used to live, it would turn, it would de-intensify, it would be lower. I lived about 15 miles, 10 miles from the water. It never flooded in my neighborhood, rarely. But everywhere around Sarasota in Florida would get hit. So after losing my house, it's more of a reality in my brain that something bad could happen. There's Gringo walking there. So yeah, trying to process. We do have a friend that lives in a house that's a lot safer in the area. So if we have to evacuate where we're living, we can go there. So that's kind of the way it is you kind of prepare your yard and you get rid of all the yard debris and anything that may fly away, anything that may hit your windows. And you just do the best you can. You get batteries, and people get water for some reason. I don't feel water is that necessary. I mean, there's a slim possibility that the water pumps that pump water to your house could be disrupted, but I've never had that happen ever in 50 years. So I'm not one of those that goes out and gets a whole bunch of water. Here's some people over here at this hotel that's right here next to the RP Funding Center. Looks like maybe they just got here. A lot of people from the Bay Area are just going as far inland as they can because the streets and the highways are all clogged, going away from Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, all those areas, Manatee. People are just getting the heck out of town. I don't feel that vulnerable here because we're so far from the coast. Usually storms will de-intensify or just get slower as they hit land. So if they hit Tampa, by the time they get to Lakeland, it'll be a lot less. In my opinion, rarely does a hurricane go up to the Category 4 and then just mows across the state and stays a Category 4. My understanding is the water intensifies storm. Warm water, warm air intensifies hurricane. So if it hits land, it automatically, some police sirens going on down there. So rarely does a hurricane hit land and just stay the same strength. This has been my experience. Like I said, 50 years of experience living in Florida, dealing with hurricanes, storms, and that kind of thing. So I think we're in a pretty safe area for the most part. They say that something about the wind shear when it gets closer to Florida is gonna make the storm lose energy and go down to maybe like a 1 or something, which is maybe like 50 miles an hour wind. So that's what you hope for. You either hope for it turns at the last minute, goes to north of you or south of you. South of you is the best, because they say the south part of the storm is that's what they've been saying, is the southern part of the storm. Like if you have the eye and everything south of that is the worst, because it's the most intense part of the storm. So like I said, I'm just trying to steel myself and just say, it's not going to be bad. Like I said, we went shopping for stuff, got the stuff we needed, supplies, and mainly batteries and candles, because if you lose power, then it really sucks if you don't have any light, because by the time it comes nighttime, you don't have anything to light the house, and it may be 1 day, it may be 5 days, it may be 7 days. Last time it was 7 days, I think 2 years ago. We lost power for 7 days. It was really ridiculous. We had to go to places to charge our phones, had to go to a friend's and borrow a generator because their power came back on before ours, so we borrowed a generator like after 2 days, and so it wasn't so bad because we actually had refrigerator power and some fans and ability to charge the phone and stuff like that. So it wasn't as bad as it could have been if we had lost power and we didn't have anywhere to charge our phones. You can't watch TV unless you have a generator or something. So it can be very miserable. So we're planning for like lack of power basically. And we didn't board up because we just don't have the ability to do it where we live. But it's very scary. Like I said, the reason why we didn't evacuate is because, well, they didn't put in a mandatory evacuation like they did a lot of places in Tampa and stuff. So, and we're what am I trying to say? We're used to these storms, they say it's going to be a category 3 or category 4, and then something always happens at the last minute. But the weather does the best they can to sort of predict the weather and make sure you're ready, give you all the information, what you need. And people always say water, but we've never needed water in any of the storms. I've been through somewhere in the probably near 50 storms in that many years. Some years you don't have any storms, some years you have a lot of storms, 3-4 major storms in a year. They never hit Sarasota where I lived. Look at this artwork over here. Bam. It looks like they started on this painting and didn't finish. So that's kind of where I'm at, is hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. I've had it where my street all lost power except for my house before, so I was like in good shape, and I just happened to have a transformer at my house, so the power didn't go out, but everybody else's went out on the block, and they were all, I actually took an extension cord and let my neighbor use my power. I didn't charge them anything. So tomorrow it's supposed to be hitting in the afternoon, I guess, starting in the afternoon with the heavy wind and stuff and rain. And so depending on how things go, I might just take a sleeping pill and just try to sleep through the storm, because there's no reason to be up in the middle. And I don't predict, like the house blowing away or anything, not like in North Carolina or anything like that, because we actually are in a higher elevation, I think, here in Lakeland. We have a lot of ups and downs, and I think where we live, it's not really a flooding zone, so that's good. But it's just the whole mental game about, what do I do? How are we supposed to prep and stuff? So I think we've prepped about as good as we can for the storm, and and that's really all you can do. you know, besides, you know, try to go to a hotel or just drive somewhere else and get, you know, to somebody's house, you know, a friend's house or something like that. That's about what we do as far as that. Like I said, I don't think there's any evacuation order for where I live. So it's almost like I wish that this would just kind of get, you know, let's get this over with, because we've been worrying about it all week. You know, they forecasted it last week, and now it's been narrowed down to looking like it's going to come right through where we live, and it's scary. But when you've been through a lot of storms, I guess it's less scary because you know what to expect. You know to expect a lot of wind and a lot of rain, and hopefully no flying objects like a tornado or anything like that. That would, you know, that would be a bad situation. So that's where we are. I was thinking about doing some video during the storm so you can see like the winds and the rain. A lot of times you can see the trees blowing and stuff blowing down the street, garbage cans. The dumb people that don't put their stuff away in their yard, their stuff blows down the street and blows into another person's yard and stuff like that. So anyway, we'll see what's gonna happen. I may do a video tomorrow, I may not. But if you're in Florida, cross your fingers and just hope maybe the storm turns and then it de-intensifies and everything's gonna be okay. So we'll see you maybe tomorrow, maybe after the storm. I'll make a video. All right, you guys take care.